welcome to Wildlife Rescue. I'm Mary Cummins, and today with me is Leslie Rink.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Leslie Rink of the Opossum Society.
Of US.com.
And today we're going to talk about springtime wildlife babies. Starting like the end of January and all the way through all of springtime, sometimes into the summer, you're going to find tons of little wildlife babies. Well, hopefully you won't find them. But if you do find them, we'll tell you what to do. Around the end of January, we have someone getting ready to do a little visiting here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Around the end of January, the tree squirrels in Los Angeles, California, have little, tiny little pinky babies. And sometimes after a storm or after a heavy rain, you might find a nest on the ground. Sometimes you don't know what it is, but I'm going to show you a nest right now. Oops. Now, this is a nest of a tree squirrel, and there's someone in it already. This is the inside, the inside baby chamber of a tree squirrel nest in a palm tree. If you take a look at this, it's finely shredded little bits of the palm fronds to make a nice soft little place for the little babies.
And how many babies do they have usually in a litter?
Well, we mainly have fox tree squirrels here, and they have generally about 2 to 3 average, but they can have up to 5, although that's pretty rare.
Wow, 5.
And they have little babies in the springtime, starting from the end of January to March, and then again, like July to September, we'll find more babies. But sometimes after a storm or a rain, or you've had tree trimmers, you'll find one of these on the ground, and you'll hear a sound that sounds like beep, 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 beep. That'll be a little baby, orphan baby, trying to call its mom. Now, what we like to do is most orphan babies that are found by humans, well-meaning humans, they're not actually orphaned. They're just temporarily not with their mother. They can be reunited. I found with tree squirrels or even ground squirrels, 75% of them can be reunited. You don't always have to pick them up and take them to the animal shelter. The best thing to do would be, if you find a nest, leave it where it is, but try to keep it safe from cats and dogs or birds of prey. Now, if you can't take your cats or dogs in, I'd suggest putting this nest into a box and then wiring it to the tree maybe 6 to 8 feet up, and then watch for a few hours, and hopefully mom will come and pick them up. And she picks them up just like little kittens, just by the scruff or sometimes on the belly.
Nape of the neck?
Yeah, and they'll like wrap their little legs around her neck if they're larger, and she carries them one by one back up the tree to a new nest or to a backup nest.
Okay, that's good to know.
And you are this specialist with opossums, so what should someone do if they find some springtime opossum babies?
Okay, well, usually since the possums are marsupials, the babies are usually in the pouch. So usually what happens is we get the mother that's been hit by a car, attacked by a dog, and we'll have a dead mother, and we will have to extract the babies from the pouch. And, you know, because if the mother's dead, there's, you know, we will have to be, a rehabber will have to be the mother, new mother now.
So if someone finds a dead opossum mom, they should always check the pouch, or should they bring you the animal and you'll check the pouch?
Well, sometimes if they're bigger, they can see movement, and when they're laying on the side, they'll see them moving around, and then they'll go, oh my goodness, they have babies in the pouch, and then they'll get in touch with someone. A lot of times they call the animal shelter, and they have lists, and they'll get them to a rehabilitator in the area, and we'll take the babies, and the most important thing is, you know, get them to a rehabilitator right away, and don't attempt to pull them out yourself and feed them. And if some are bigger and are out of the pouch, then you want to get them in a cardboard box with some towels and keep them warm and in a dark place for transporting them, or till a rehabilitator gets to you or you get to them. And well, we have
Or should we talk about some babies first?
Maybe? Oh yeah, let's talk about some babies. She's got some babies with her.
I'll put this little nest down here. I don't know if you want to do this, or shall I?
No, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that's right. This made a big mess here.
Yeah.
Oops.
But Mary's got some little babies, and these are really small, and they have to be tube fed around the clock. So this is a lot of work. So this is why it's very important. There's one little one.
This is a little possum. The eyes are just opening. And I have them in this sock here today to try to keep them warm. I had them in my bra. I had them.
Yeah, she had them in warm places.
Yes, warm places.
And this is kind of like a little artificial pouch. They like to curl up in the pouch and stay warm.
If I have a larger litter, I like to use the ferret, those fleece-lined pouches.
Right,
they really like that.
Yeah, you can use big, but these for 3.
So this one's coming out.
And these ones have fur. So when they're born, they're like the size of a little pink bumblebee. So these are much bigger. And these ones are looking pretty good. They're not too dehydrated, but they do need heat all the time. So You would have to feed them around the clock, and in the pouch the mother would have long teats and they would go into the throat, so that's why they don't really suckle. They have to be tube fed when they're this little until they learn how to lap on their own. So these ones are tubers.
Now, just so everyone has some clarification here, Leslie Rink and I are both Department of Fish and Game licensed wildlife rehabilitators. We've been trained to take care of orphaned wildlife, ill, injured, and orphaned wildlife. So what we're about to do, don't try this at home. It's very dangerous. You can easily kill them if it's done improperly, and it should only be done by licensed wildlife rehabilitators. Because you can aspirate them if you don't know what you're doing, and it takes a lot of training and education to get to this point, and we teach classes like that, and so to other rehabilitators. So when they get a bunch of possums in, it's very efficient and the best way to make sure they're getting their nutrients. Yeah, so today we're going to tube one of these little babies. This little baby is a tiny bit dehydrated, still just the tiniest bit, so I'm just going to give fluids right now. I have some warm fluids ready here. Okay, you want me to hold them while you get the tube ready? Okay, sure. And this one's a little boy here. Well, it's hard to see, but there's little nuts, like little dark spots there where the nuts will be, but he's hungry, and the ears are all white when they're little. When they get bigger, they grow black. So he's very active, and that's good. And his nose is nice and pink. And let's see, he's not too dehydrated, but he is a little bit. Usually on incoming, they are dehydrated. You know, by the time they get to a rehabilitator, they're a little dehydrated. But otherwise he's looking really good. His eyes are opening. So there we go. Now, I've already pre-measured. When we do the tubing, we want to make sure, oops, someone's doing a little poops. We got a little poops. Oh, and you have to potty them to stimulate them to potty. Just like this, stimulate, you just gently press on the genitals so they can urinate and defecate. Like a little cotton ball, warm cotton ball, wipe down, and they'll make them go to the bathroom. That's what he's doing right now. You need to do that with baby kittens, baby squirrels even, possums, all small animals. The mother would lap on to stimulate them to pee and poop. So we like to make sure we get this taken care of before. Yeah, otherwise it can before and after sometimes. Yeah. Oop. Oh, what's going on here? I've never heard her growl before. She's always the sweetest thing. Yeah. Maybe she doesn't like the lights. I don't know. Anyway, oops, he's still going pee. Okay. Oh, okay. Do you want me to give another one then, or get another one going, or? I didn't bring any paper towels either. I'm very organized today. Okay, well, just sit there and I'll get another one out who's not now, quite as busy. Now, when did you get these, and what was the story with these ones? I just got these last night from the shelter. I have no idea where they came from. Maybe he's done. So this is what happens a lot of times. We get a call from the shelter, and we don't know what happened to the mother. We just have little babies. And there's usually, in an average litter, there's anywhere from 8 to 11. They're usually big litters. So sometimes if they're hit by cars, a lot of them don't make it, unfortunately. Okay, she's going to go to the tubing. We're ready to tube. You're ready to tube, okay. Now when we train, I always say, hold them like a little Pez dispenser, because they try to like wiggle around a bit. And then I like to come in off the side of the mouth. Obviously, no one tried to do this yourself. And then we go over the tongue. And, oops, someone's biting. Yeah, they do have teeth even at that age. Come on. And you want to just make sure you get it down the throat and, you know, not into their windpipe, because that is where they'll aspirate. Someone's being stubborn. Yeah. Once they feel the nipple, they clamp down. Just it's a natural instinct. They think, okay, now he's like, okay. This one's I've already marked it. Okay. Now he's ready. And she's got the tube pre-marked, so it knows specifically to stop at the stomach there. And I already know that he weighs 27 grams, and I'm going to be giving him, just for right now, 1 cc. And that's just a little bit right there. It's actually a quarter, because I didn't fill it up all the way. And there he is. There you go. That's it. And that's all there is to it. And I pinch it off, and then I gently pull it out. That's correct. Right. And now he has his fluids. That's so I'm going to put him back. I think I can remember this one. Yeah. Into the little pouch. So we have to do this sometimes with like 40 at a time, every 3 or 4 hours. And then if you're also doing squirrels, oops. And it's very important, you know, when you have different litters, to make sure you clean your syringe and tube and all that. Yeah, sterilize and all that. But like this, again, it can't be, you know, takes a lot of training, and we don't recommend you to try to do this at home. This is just what us rehabilitators have to do. So
when you have 9, you'll realize we're up all night having to do this.
Or when you have 100 of them, then
But that's very time efficient because you know it's getting into their stomach.
And you know exactly how much they're getting.
Right, because a lot of times if they try to lap, it go off the side of their mouth, and it's you don't know what they're getting. Yeah, and they can get more dehydrated.
Yeah.
And this is a. Do we want to show the juvenile one? Okay.
This is a juvenile. Shall I?
Okay. Yeah, she's got. Oh, she's not very happy today.
Maybe it's the light. Hi,
Are you?
It's me.
Well, let me see if I can get her out.
Look, it's a piece of apple.
Come on.
That's for you.
She's not very friendly today.
Oh.
I think she smells
the Komodo dragon. Well, let me try.
Okay, go ahead.
Famous last words. Hi.
She knows you more than me.
Hi,
Whoa. Well, maybe not. Maybe we should show this is one uncooperative one.
Yeah, actually that would be interesting if you could see her. You want to stick your finger in there and see
do well.
You want to stick your finger in there?
This is what you don't want to do. Well, she's not being cooperative, but usually she likes apple. But right now, you hear that? That's a warning growl saying you better back off. But usually,
want to growl? She's generally the sweetest thing in the world. I think these lights and the smell of the lizard.
Oh, she's coming out for the apple. Okay.
She'll have that.
But they have a lot of teeth. See how they use their hands to eat? Oh boy.
That's okay.
They're loud eaters too.
I know it, and messy.
They're messy, but they have their hands are like human. They have a a opposable thumb, and they're very good at holding things, and a prehensile tail to help. When they're climbing trees to hang on and all that. Right? Yeah, it's not for hanging, but it's help. It's like a fifth arm.
Maybe you want to give her another one.
Yeah, she's doing good right now.
Now she's happy.
Yeah, but boy, she was not in a good mood.
No. See, she's a licensed educational animal. Generally, I take her to schools and retirement hotels, and I display her, and she sits there, and she eats, and she's calm. But I think all these lights and the smell of other animals is
the other animals, yeah. Let's see if we can get her to come out. But yeah, so this is a non-releasable, and since we're licensed, we can have animals in our possession like this to educational to show the people what they look like. A lot of times people never seen a possum before, and they're very curious, and they want to learn more about them. Come on out. Come on, I got something for you. Don't be shy. Come on out. Come on.
She's coming.
Come on, I got something for you. Come on. They have good smelling and good hearing. They got ears almost like bats. Come here.
You can have it.
Come on. Come on out. Come on. Well, anyway, she's not full grown, and she's way too tame to survive out in the wild right now.
Even though she wasn't in the best mood earlier.
Yeah, but here she comes. Come on. Come on out. Show everyone. And they're nocturnal, so they only come out at night, so they're very shy during the day, so that's another problem. I think she smells a squirrel nest and is very confused. Well, what are you going back in for? I got something for you. Maybe we can show her tail. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess our show and tell with her is over. But anyway.
There you go. You can eat that. You're okay. Are you going to eat that?
They like to eat a lot of fruits, so a lot of times when people have fruit trees in their yard, they'll see a lot of possums. They like to eat the overripe fruit that falls off the tree onto the ground. So apples, plums, oranges, lemons. They love snails, cockroaches, crickets, slugs. So they're very good to have around the garden to help with pest control and stuff like that. And so I try to tell them, leave them in your garden. They'll be good.
They're great for your garden.
Yeah.
Don't need pesticides.
Right. They're perfect. And a lot of times if you leave cat food out, they'll eat that too. And they will get along with cats. I've seen them get along with cats. So a lot of people are worried about, if they're going to attack their cat or their dog. But usually the dog will attack the possum, a bigger one. But they do a defensive growl like you heard, and that's their warning sign, like back off. Because
sometimes I've heard with wild ones, I've heard the really loud growl, like a loud cat, and that's right. They look scary and they sound scary.
Sometimes when they're mating, they will get noisy like that too, because the female doesn't want to partake, and they get a lot of growling and hissing and all kinds of sounds. But right now she's pretty happy because she's got her apple, and we got some good pictures going on here. But around Easter time is when we really have a lot of babies. And in California here, since the weather's so warm, we have seems like babies year round, except for November and December, I think January. But most other times we have them.
I've gotten some in October.
So a lot of times people see them, crossing the road, and And they're very slow moving is correct. And if it's a mother with babies in her pouch, she's very slow, and you know, a lot of times they don't make it. And so that's why we educate people to look and see if there's babies in the pouch and let the animal shelter know, and they'll contact one of us to take care of them. Well,
Okay.
okay.
Go
Well,
back here, don't worry.
well, she got her food. She was just hungry.
Yeah.
Let me put
She
some
had
more
her
in there.
breakfast and everything, and she
Yeah,
was
all
sweet
this-
earlier.
All this excitement's made her hungry.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So you were going to talk about skunks and other wildlife that
Yeah.
is in.
Because springtime, we don't just find
Okay.
opossums and squirrels. We also find chipmunks and ground squirrels and skunks. Now,
Okay.
skunks generally come a little bit later, around April and May is when we start
Okay.
getting the little baby skunks. And if you're outside at night, oops, sorry.
We got the little
Get over
baby
there.
moving
Get back in there, trying to come out a little sock. If you're outside at night and you hear it, ee, that's
Okay.
a little baby skunk calling for its mom.
Okay.
And baby skunks can also they can be reunited with their mom.
Okay.
Now, if you know that you have a skunk den next to your house and you know where it is by the smell or whatever, you can take that little baby that you found and put it back next to the skunk den. Because
Okay.
sometimes when they're about, as soon as their eyes open, they're crawling around, they get a little bit lost and they'll crawl out of the den.
Okay. And how many's in a litter usually, or?
Generally up to 6,
Okay.
but I'd say I've only received maybe average 3 or 4.
Okay. And the mother's the sole caretaker at that time.
Yes.
There's no male in the picture. And
Yeah, no male, and they're
Okay.
generally denning. Sometimes they'll den like under your house or in a bush or in a shallow little depression
Okay.
with brush and leaves around it.
Like a wood shed pile or
Oh, they
behind
would
that?
love
Okay,
that.
wood
Yeah,
shed.
so
Okay.
any place that an opossum would love to live, a skunk would love to live there too.
And what draws them to the yard? Is it fruit trees or cat food or what?
Either food, water, or shelter. So if
Okay.
you have like a crawl space under your house, they're going to love to den up in there.
Shelter. Okay.
And or of course food, or if you have any type of water. If you leave cat food out, you're definitely going to be having skunks
Okay.
around. But like opossums are wonderful because they also eat mice, rats, roaches, grubs.
Oh, grubs. Okay.
And rotting dead animals, rotting fruit, trash.
Okay. Right. Carrion. Okay.
Mhm.
Same like possums.
So if you ever find a lone little skunk and you don't know what to do, and a lot of people are afraid that they're going to get sprayed, of course, contact a wildlife rehabilitator. You can go online and contact one through, Animal Advocates, or through, there's a whole bunch of different directories, or contact your local veterinary office, or animal services, animal
shelter.
control. Yeah, sometimes pet stores even know.
Right.
But generally animal control people know. So you've found a little baby skunk and you try to reunite it with the mom, but mom's not taking it. Maybe she's dead, or maybe she doesn't want it because there's something wrong with the baby.
Okay.
I suggest either contact the wildlife rehabilitator and they'll come out and pick it up for you. But if no one is around, I suggest getting some thick leather gloves. And generally the babies, they're like about this big when they're born and their eyes are closed.
Okay.
If you found it like that and mom won't take it back, then just scoop it up and stick it in a little cardboard box, keep it nice and warm, and then
Okay.
try to find a rehabilitator to take it to.
Okay.
If you find them when they're a little bit older and their eyes are open and they're stomping their little feet and they're raising their tail and you're afraid you're going to get sprayed,
Okay.
you probably won't get sprayed.
But that's a warning
But-
sign. That's okay.
Yeah, stomping their little feet is warning number 1,
Okay.
raising the tail is warning number 2,
Okay.
and then when the 2 eyes and the red eyes looking at you at the same time, that's warning number 3, and then their anus starts to go, whoa.
And then they're
Yeah,
going to
you
shoot,
get
spray you. Okay.
Yeah, but with the little ones, sometimes it's more just playing or a posturing type of thing. So what I do is I pick them up, if they're acting any bit aggressive, I'll pick them up by the base of the tail, and I'll try to have the little anus pointing the other way.
Okay.
I've actually never been sprayed.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. And never had a problem most of the time. When it's a little baby, they're not going to do anything. You just scoop them up, stick them in a box.
Okay.
And then the rehabilitator, we take them, and we raise them until they're juveniles, just about, almost adults.
Now,
and
do you have to tube feed them like you do the possums, or can you feed those with the nipple in a bottle like they suckle?
Well, actually, they don't really suckle, they lap.
Oh,
Or
they lap?
Squirrels,
Oh, okay.
Squirrels suckle.
Okay.
Possums you have to tube
Okay.
and lap, and the skunks will lap. But
okay.
you can use the bottle with the nipple.
Okay.
But I like to do the lapping because I know exactly how much
So they
is
can
getting
just add a
into
little
them.
shallow little dish, will lap out of it.
Yeah, or off of a syringe tip.
Oh, okay, just drip, drip, drip. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Great.
like with little opossums.
Okay.
And then we use similar food and we raise and release them back to the wild.
Okay, great.
And then the next thing would be the ground animals, such as chipmunks and ground squirrels. And they live in little burrows under the ground. Now, if you found a little chipmunk or ground squirrel and it looks like it's almost full grown or just a juvenile, and it's just sitting there not doing anything, it is a juvenile. There's probably nothing wrong with it. You've just startled it, so it just sits there and it won't move.
Okay.
Just leave it alone and it'll go.
Okay, on its own business.
Yeah, and the only time you're going to find any eyes closed little pinky chipmunks, ground squirrels, or even ground rats is if someone's doing any landscape work and they're digging up the ground. So it's very rare to find those types of animals above ground.
Or construction, or somehow they're moving the earth. Okay.
Yeah, landscaping, because generally their burrows are pretty deep. But if you do find them like that, Mom will still take them back, and they also make a little peeping sound, very similar to the tree squirrels. Okay. So we stick them in a little box. We try to get them warm, and we stop whatever we were doing, which is the landscaping or the digging or whatever, and leave it there. Keep it protected from cats and dogs and birds of prey. It makes a little peeping sound. Mom will come and take it to a different burrow or a different part of the burrow.
Okay, so she'll have a backup little den or burrow or something.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but if Mom doesn't come in a couple of hours, then contact a wildlife rehabilitator, and we will take them.
And that's, you know, going back to the fox tree squirrels, with all the gusty winds, Santa Ana wind conditions we have, it's very common to get a nest falling out of a tree. So, you know, at what point do they want to take them back and take them to a rehabilitator when they can see the mother isn't around? Maybe the mother's gotten killed by a dog, but they're still hoping the mother will come down. What point do you tell that person to contact a rehabilitator, the mother's not coming back?
I say either give it like maybe 3 to 4 hours, but not until it's not when it's dark out. Don't dare leave them out overnight.
Okay, don't leave them out yet, because they need body heat. They'll get cold and they
probably
can
be
die
dead by morning. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd give it 3 or 4 hours as long as there's light out. Now, if you found them at night, I would take them and keep them warm on a warm heating pad. Okay. And then I would try to reunite in the morning, and then give a few hours, and then hopefully, you know. And sometimes I find if you tickle them a little bit, they'll go beep beep beep, and Mom will hear that, and Mom will start coming
back. Okay, that's good. Okay.
And then watch them and keep them safe.
Okay, so at dusk you want to bring them in if the mother hasn't claimed them by then, because they need to be brought in and kept warm. And then contact a rehabilitator at that point if they've been out all day. Okay.
And another thing that we sometimes get calls on is wild rabbits. Now, if you see a slight depression in the ground and it's lined with little bits of pieces of grass and such, and you find a whole bunch of little baby bunnies, they're not orphaned. Okay. Mom just feeds them in the morning, and then she goes and looks for food all day long. Then she comes back and she feeds them again at night. Don't scoop them up and take them to animal control. Just leave them where they are. Mom will come back and get them.
Okay, leave them alone.
And same thing with the fawns. If you see a little fawn sitting on your step or anything like that, it's probably all right. Mom is just out. Mom leaves the fawn at one place in the morning. She feeds all day long. She comes back, and maybe 5 or 6 hours later, she'll feed the fawn. Don't touch the fawn. Don't pick up the fawn. Just keep it safe from cats and dogs and other predators. If Mom doesn't take it within about maybe, I'd say, 7, 8 hours, or it gets dark, then there's something wrong. Then you need to take it.
Okay, the mother's got hit by a car or something like that.
Hit by a car, probably. But when in doubt, contact a wildlife rehabilitator. They can advise you if you're not sure. If you're not sure, you know, how long, or you forget, just call us up and ask us, and we'll be able to tell you what to do.
Right, yeah, and that's what's really good. And then again, you know, Possum Society has their own website, www.possumsocietyus.org, and then there's Animal Advocates, and you can go on that website.
Animaladvocates.us, and we have a list of all the rehabilitators in the United States and their specialties, so you can just contact them through the internet or by phone.
And you just click on by what city or state you live in, they'll tell you what they specialize in. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good tip, yeah.
And besides small mammals, we also sometimes find little baby birds.
Fledglings?
Yeah, we find nestlings and fledglings. Now, if they have no feathers on them whatsoever, fur.
Okay, feathers, right, yeah.
No feathers or fur, then they're a nestling, and they're not old enough to be on their own. Okay. If you find one on the ground, the nest is probably directly above you on the tree. You can pick it up. Don't worry, it's a wives' tale when they say that the mom won't take it back.
If it smells human, that's okay.
If you can find the nest, try to get it back into the nest. But if the nest is way high, get a little strawberry basket or a margarine tub, clean it all out, put some leaves and a little bit of grass in there, put the baby in there, wire it at least 10 feet up off the ground onto the same tree, and Mom will still come back and feed it.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
And then if you find what we call a fledgling, which is it has feathers, it almost looks full grown.
And it's hopping around.
Hopping on the ground, Sometimes crows have to hop on the ground for 10 days, sometimes other birds 3 days. Okay. There's only a few birds like the hummingbirds that just fly out of the nest instantly. If you find a fledgling, leave it alone. Do not take it. Just keep it safe from cats and dogs and other predators. It might be there a few days. The mom and dad, they're still there, and they're still there feeding it and keeping it safe. And that is the most important thing, because like 75% of the birds some bird people get, they're all fledglings that have been kidnapped from their parents. They should have just been left there.
Left alone.
And that's how we get overloaded.
Right, and that's a lot of work. Birds are very hard to take care of.
Every
yes.
20 minutes during daylight hours you have to feed them. That is a lot of work.
I feel for those people that do birds
I
because it
know.
makes possums and
that's
squirrels
why I like doing the
so
small
much easier.
mammals.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I've taken care of them just for a day or two, and every 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's hard work around the clock.
Yeah, but we're not bird specialists, but if you do find a bird and you have a question, give us a call. Go through the animaladvocates.us, and you can find a bird rehabber out of the list, or you could also call you. Yeah, and I'm sure you know a whole bunch of bird people.
We have networks where we can get you in touch with a bird specialist, not fish, but a bird or reptile.
Well, some people specialize in crows. Some people just do birds of prey. Some people just do starlings. Everyone has their own specialty. There's one woman, I think in Laguna, that just does hummingbirds, and she's just done it for years.
Or there's owl specialists, and for me, I know a network that do turtles, amphibians, frogs, reptiles. So there's a whole network of people out there, whatever their specialty
is. If there's an animal, there's a specialist.
Right.
So, and then we've got marine mammals, but that's a huge topic too.
And there's deer and fawn and all that.
Coyote pups.
Coyotes, and that's a different kind of
bobcats, mountain lions, bears. But there's a rehabber for every single type of animal out there. There's probably even a roach rehabber, so just you can give us a call. And again, I'm I'm Mary Cummins with Animal Advocates, and this is Leslie Rink here today with the Opossum Society. Yes. And we're both Fish and Game licensed wildlife rehabilitators. So if you find, because it's springtime, baby mammals or baby birds, contact a rehabilitator. Contact one of us. We'll point you in the right direction so we can save that animal for you.
Or you can always go on the websites too. Yeah. www.opossumsocietyus.org and Animal Advocates US.
Animaladvocates.us.
.us. Okay, got that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Mr. Grouchy Possum, and the little possum babies who joined us. They're nice and fed, nice and warm, and squirming around.
Yes. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. That's funny that she growled.
Yeah.
Oh, she's never done that.
She lunged at you too.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't stick my hand.
I know. Yeah. Stick your hand in there, Leslie.
Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks, Mary.
You know